Welcome everybody to the EVM Working Groups weekly update. Let's begin. I am sharing my screen from here. So this is the suggested agenda today. Does anybody have something to add to this? Right. So let's proceed. So it's March, and by the end of this month, we should have a testnet release. That's our current goal. Same as the last week. Let's do the weekly updates. Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have no major things on the EVM. Lots of focus on the bridge right now. The only thing, the only thing that I can report here is that together with Evgeny Yohanov and Kirill Abramov, we are working on the ETH connector. So It seems like ETH connector is the guys already made pretty good progress, and this week they were able to send the transaction in from Ethereum to Near in one direction. There's still some things that need to be fixed, but I believe Evgeny is going to report on them. But all looking good.
All right. On my end, this was still a split week for attention, dealing with some healthcare issues, but normalizing on that and beginning to get back into the flow of things. I have done something fairly significant. Just preceding the call, I began us moving us over to the Project Aurora organization. Let me show you guys this. So here we are. Aurora is near, and repositories of relevance are moving here. Let's discuss this topic in the discussion segment. I added it to the agenda. I fixed some regressions in the provider. It wasn't passing the tests anymore after the last few weeks of changes, and I tracked those down and released also a new version because we did a license change to Creative Commons 0 from the previous. I think it was AGPL, so that needed a release. The formerly Near-ETH RPC is now called Relayer, and I improved the usability after some feedback from Frank on difficulties he had in using that. The usual review and merge of a bunch of pull requests, and supported our new hire, Matt, who will welcome soon, and Frank and Joshua, and most importantly, I'll continue working on the Near EVM. Talk about that in a bit. What about you, Evgeny?
We successfully tested with Ropsten network and Near testnet, our ETH connector. Also, we discussed with Alex Shevchenko some small things to improve our contracts. All of the things I implemented, but currently we have a really small issue for new event format for our new testing. So I think today we will fix all the things, and after that I believe we complete our testing for Ropsten and Near testnet, and after that we can move forward.
Okay. Which testnet is it? Ropsten?
Yes, Ropsten.
Okay, Ropsten. Okay.
Also, I want to say that we integrate to as prover that deployed to our test network. So today it's looked like very good progress, and I think in next week we can move forward.
Okay. Sounds good. And how about Frank?
Yeah, basically I focused exclusively on the bully this week. Looked through the stack of the ETH RPC and the Web3 provider, and ran into some issues there, and had a few pull requests. And then after discussing with Arto, decided that it's probably easier and also more performant if we just skip all of that and talk directly to the near core RPC. And so basically cut out all the layers in between, talk directly to the near core RPC, because it's also more performant. And then wrote the basically some Go RPC layer, which at some point we might want to factor out, but it's not complete. So basically what we have as near API GS, I started building that as near API Go and used that to connect to near core. Did some test things like retrieving block status, retrieving state of an account. I have parsing formatting of near amounts, reading the keys from the key store of the near CLI, and sending a transaction also. The API call is there. And then the next step is basically building the transactions and then sending them to the contract. So what's missing on the bully side basically is taking the Ethereum transactions, kind of wrapping them into near transactions and submitting them to near core directly to the contract. And what we have to then do on the contract side is that we kind of have to compile an EVM with these two additional calls we have to add. One is to set the Genesis state, and one is to also submit the context. So I think that it's a really nice design now that we basically don't have to modify near core, we don't have to modify all the intermediate ones, and we can measure directly performance of the EVM.
Okay. And I saw that you also did somebody's banging on the table there. I see you also started the discussion for the block hash. So
yes.
we can. Okay. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6 in near core. For if somebody has any comments on this, how we're going to simulate block hash, and that's a EVM opcode that we need to support.
Yeah, basically what if Jenny Capone suggested I put it in there, and suggested we add another, we also put the shard hash and or the account hash into the account ID into the hash, because we can have more than one EVM, and then that way the block hashes are unique for the EVMs.
Yeah, we might need the chain ID there as well. But yes,
yeah,
that kind of approach might be workable. Okay, we'll come back to that. That's not a Q1 item, but we will come back to that. Ili, I saw that you did a couple of things. You're working on the upgradability for the EVM contract, and you had some contract import here in the new EVM repo as well. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, I mean, I was just helping a little bit. Like sounds of contracts were in there, so just added them. But yeah, nothing much. It's just like some cleanup.
Right, and those were balancer contracts, right?
Yeah. Like we were using them in tests, but the source code wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and I believe do we have Joshua with us? I know he's sick, so he might not have joined. Anybody see the attendance list? It's a little bit hard when screen sharing to see it.
Yeah, he's not with us.
Okay. All right. Let me give you his updates that he wrote me. So he was working on the helping Ilya on the upgrade functionality, solving some cargo issues there, and beginning to add sim tests. He's a little bit blocked on that, but he just messaged me prior to the call that he has managed to unblock himself and would continue. So also not to you, Ilya, he just planned to pull through on that. And he's, let's see here. Right, so he noted that the EVM contract can't exactly use the SDK sim, has to be just a wee bit lower. You have an idea, Ilya, what he's referring to there?
What is the what there?
What he said is that the EVM contract can't exactly use the SDK sim.
Yeah.
It needs to be just a wee bit lower. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, all right. So he said that he should have the sim test by Monday. He figured out what the crucial miss. Now, in the meantime, while he was blocked on that, I assigned him to work on 3954. So this is the host function additions to the math API in Nearcore. And there's still a bunch that needs to be done there, and that might be a good task for him to take over. So I supported him to get started on that today, or yesterday, actually. So I'll write his updates here after the call. Okay, so those are all the updates. Then for the discussion segment, let's welcome Matt. Welcome, Matt. Do we have Matt on the call?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Arto.
Hey, Matt.
Hi.
So Matt is joining us this week. He will be helping Alex on the product side. Matt is a very experienced product person, as we coders call them. And I worked with him on and off for 15 plus years, I believe, in a lot of projects, including for Google, the US Navy, and the European Space Agency. So Matt, I believe, is fully, you're already on all the relevant Slack channels. You are on Discord. You can be reached on Discord. Okay.
Well, on Discord, I don't think I've been given any roles yet. So I think I'm just a normal user there.
Okay.
I think you can just select the role yourself, and then you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the procedure is these days.
Yeah, so the procedure was shifting a bit. So I'm not sure that it is right now the same as it was several weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll get it sorted out for you. In any case, I understand that you are assigned, Matt, to the bridge team chiefly, but that you would plan to attend also EVM calls when you can.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's talk about Aurora as a codename, since we already got some questions on Twitter after Max tweeted about it. So very briefly, codename Aurora is what we are calling the combined end user solution of the bridge and EVM, as in the Ethereum solution, Ethereum compatible solution. Because after all, users are unlikely to care about the distinctions between that technical component and this technical component. So we collaborate ever more closely between the teams. So this is very simply the combined end user solution of EVM plus bridge. And we a little bit differentiating it in terms of the weekly updates, the Twitter messaging on that, and indeed on GitHub. So you can find it here on GitHub, and I do believe we have a brand new Twitter account with no followers, in case somebody wants to follow that specifically for more targeted messaging about EVM and bridge. Any questions on that from here or the audience on YouTube?
I had one question, Arto. Just related to the bridge. Is currently bridging into the EVM, is that a separate thing? What's the state of that with respect to bridging into native near?
It is not done. It is not working at the moment. So the Rainbow Bridge is capable of bridging to the native near at the moment. And the ETH connector, so there are also things to discuss there, but at the moment what we are doing with ETH connector is an ability to bridge ETH from Ethereum accounts to near accounts. In order to bridge stuff from Ethereum to EVM runtime, we would need to bridge it to near runtime. So use the Rainbow Bridge, but to some kind of escrow account. And then from the escrow account to bridge it inside of the EVM. So we would need to have one additional component for bridging in between the near native and the EVM runtimes.
Yeah,
it still needs to be done.
We do actually have, if we go to the discussions, we have graphic on that. Do you happen to remember which one, Alex?
The discussion about
Yeah,
what? About this
well,
approach?
in terms of the architecture of things. I think it would have been January when you presented that.
Maybe so.
Let's see. Nope, not too easily findable. Probably need to collect them elsewhere than just in the call notes. Maybe it's even further back. Could be December.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe in December.
Oh, there's something at least. Okay, so this was okay, 18th of December. So here we have a little something showing. Okay, but this was not actually about the.
Yeah, it's not about the bridging.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. We do have the. I believe that you started the discussion on the forum, right? And that has some diagrams that we could refer to.
I mean, there's pretty much two options. One is the EVM itself has logic to verify proofs. And so like the EVM contract becomes a fungible token contract as well for ETH. Or the other option is having a separate fungible token contract, and then you bridge it between these two contracts.
Yeah. So Arto, probably no good place where there is stated. Well, we were discussing it for some time, but no good place to read about this.
Okay.
But yeah. So in general, like the most simple thing in terms of the bridging in between two runtimes is ETH itself, because EVM is going to implement the fungible token interface. So EVM contract is going to be a token, which is a bridged ETH. That's why we are developing the separate connector. And the good thing about this approach is that the ETH balance is going to be absolutely the same. Well, we will have only one conventional ETH balance for everybody on the near blockchain. Those who are the near native users or near native accounts, and the ones who are having the accounts only inside of the near EVM. But there is no easy way how to bridge tokens, ERC20s, from directly inside of the EVM, especially taking into account that the Rainbow Bridge approach says that we are having the factory that deploys these contracts as NEP 141 contracts on the near native runtime. So bridge tokens are NEP 141, which is the near native standard for fungible tokens. And it means that we need, and these contracts are handling, or they are holding the information about who owns what. And now, in order to be compliant with the EVM and with all of the other contracts that I would like to use, would like to use these tokens, we need to construct something that is going to tell to the EVM that we need to transfer these tokens from this NEP 141 contract into the some kind of ERC20 contract inside of the near EVM. And yeah, lots of things to be discussed here. It's not on our plate for this quarter. So yeah, at some point in time, we would need to start this discussion, but right now it's not working.
Yeah, Matt, I'll go ahead and send you links to the relevant discussions that we do have, and system diagrams and so on. We also did a little presentation at some point that can be useful. Okay, so the S connector. How do we feel about where we are on that, Evgeny and Alex?
So I believe there is an Ethereum side of the ETH connector already there. There is a giant PR by Evgeny for the near side of this connector. In order to enable transfers from Ethereum to near on Wednesday, it was like we decided that there were like a couple of minor things that need to be added, and I believe since then Evgeny already implemented this, and since he was saying that everything is good and everything is the transfers are done, then all good. And there were a little bit more on Evgeny's plate to do in order to enable the transfers back. But in general, I believe it's not that much that needed to be done. So yeah, Evgeny, you probably can update us whether you managed to do all of the changes that we discussed on Wednesday.
All changes implemented, but Kirill today changed events fields, so I can't fix that for testing.
Okay, so you need also to update the events that you are getting on the connect on the near side connector. Is this correct?
Yes.
Or it's only for testing? Okay. So yeah, so what I suggest is to do the following. I suggest Evgeny to do the final changes and deploy together with Kirill these contracts to the Ropsten. Well, to Ropsten and to near testnet, since we have already working bridge in between these two, and yeah, and then I can over the course of the weekend. I would be able to work a bit on the CLI guide that I have for the ERC20 connector, and I'm going to test this connector. But I believe we are pretty close for the connector to actually work, which is good.
Okay. Now, after it does work, we still have the question of integrating it into the contract. And let's see how this looked currently for the dependencies. What are we using here? Okay. Evgeny, have you already given thought to how you would convert it to use no STD and no SDK?
Yes, I'm looking to some examples for how to do that, and we can implement that. I can estimate how it about time, but it's possible. Also, I want to tell about function related to withdraw. We discussed with Alex that in that time we implement withdraw only for near. But for Ethereum, we will implement later.
Yeah. So there is one specific for this contract. As I said, there are some users who are going to own ETH, and these users are on the both sides, in the both runtimes, the near accounts and Ethereum accounts, and that's why we would need to have two maps inside of this contract. One is for one side and one for the other. So we need to handle correctly the transfers, all of the stuff. So at the moment, yeah, and the problem with the Ethereum users is that in order to withdraw, they need to schedule an EAP 712. They need to sign an EAP 712 message of the specified format, which is not yet now fixed. Then send it to the JSON RPC that need to wrap it into the Near transaction and send it to the Near blockchain. So just because we don't have all of this functionality already there, so we decided to limit us right now for this connector only to Near accounts only. I believe this is going to be an okay-ish approach to cache state when we can merge both. And once we have the and then we need to start the discussion of the formats of the 712 messages and how they are going to be processed by the RPC proxy. And in the end, we would need to have RPC proxy to work with these messages.
Right.
So yeah, so here at this moment we will have more like connections in between different parts of the project.
Okay. So let's call it the relayer these days, since that's what it is. Okay. Need to discuss those. Okay, but so how does it look for schedule? You said, Evgeny, that you can approximately estimate that work. How do you feel about that?
Estimating what? I'm sorry.
Estimating the no STD, no SDK change
Okay.
in order to integrate.
I can estimate in Monday. Well, I'm sorry, Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Will do. All right. Let's come back to that then. So for the bully, Frank, are you blocked on anything?
No.
So it's just finishing up the change over to directly talk to near core, bypassing all the intermediate layers, and then you start actually replaying testnet.
Yes, so finishing submitting the transaction directly to Nearcore and the EVM contract. There are no blockers there, and it should be done next week. And then the contract itself has to be extended behind a feature flag with this with these extra functions. And I haven't started looking into that, so I assume.
Yeah, I think that's probably best for me to support.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will have a learning curve there.
Yeah.
Because we need to start the replaying soonest. So I will support that next week then.
Cool.
Okay, so assuming that you got the necessary contract changes, when do you think you would be able to start replaying?
When I have the contract changes, I could probably start replaying end of next week.
End of next week. Okay. And what are you replaying? You're replaying Gurley.
That's what we start with, yeah.
Okay. Gurley, and that was how much data?
I think around 15 gigabytes.
Okay, so on disk, Geth, 15 gigabytes. Okay, that'll be interesting. I'm sure we will discover many things of note and interest in that exercise. Okay. Okay. Anything else to discuss today? Sounds like we are in a bit of a intermediate stage for everything right now. Nothing really completed this week. Just need to continue work. Nope. Well, then this will be a nice short meeting. So let's try to wrap up the bully, as in get it going over the course of next week, as in hopefully we can report that on the call a week from now. And for the S connector, we have the big question of how long the integration will take into the contracts, which also needs the contract to be in a state to be ready to be integrated, which I'm working on. So yeah, next week we'll have more updates. Let's continue work and give a nice update a week from now. So that's all, unless somebody has something to add. Nothing. Then I wish everybody a very happy weekend and talk to you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, great.
Bye, guys.